Bruce. Chris Chapman, Fox Sports Las Vegas postgame show. Brett Howden obviously gets game winner tonight, but since you've been here and since he's been here, he's played up and down the lineup. He's an extremely versatile player. So how does that help a player when you call on him and ask him to do different things at different times?
Well, it gets him on the ice, for sure, right? Could be a checking role. He's played up in the lineup, as you said. We talked about why he's playing with Hurdle and Pav. He's got some pace and can help out in the defensive side of things. He's still got good enough hands to finish plays. He went up with Stevie and Stoney in our cup run, did a great job with them. You saw him finish plays, overtime goals. So, yeah, he's a guy that does a lot of things well. I don't know if he's got one thing that's like his master craft, so to speak, but what I am finding is it looks like maybe he's finding his offensive game a little more. Like, you know, you're a first-round pick and you go through some things and maybe you have to change your game, and now the confidence is coming back for why he was selected there, you know, because he had some finish, and we're trying to tap into that and allow him to free him up a little, play him higher in the lineup so he gets some of those opportunities. And if he can do it, great. So far he has. So that's great for the team. We've talked about it enough that we need some people internally to step up to replace goals that left town. And he's one of the guys we identified, and good on him. If he had enough, he'd still be playing and playing a good role for us because he's physical, he checks, he's a great teammate, good on the PK. So there's still a lot of good things. He can take draws if a center gets thrown out, so late in the game, that's a guy, you know, there's just a lot of situations where as a coach you're comfortable using him.
I don't know if you look at any of the goals Aiden gave up tonight and you necessarily blame him for them, but since the second period of that Ottawa game, he's been really, really good. So what kind of changes have you seen in his game since that moment to really elevate him?
Yeah, I mean, I can't say one thing. I think he's a good goaltender, so he's eventually going to find his game, put the work in. I think there's a stretch there we played Sammy a couple to allow him to do that, to dig in and not worry about fatigue for his next start, but worry about technique and work and et cetera with Sean Burke and sort of get him back on track. It obviously worked. He's done a good job. I think he's a little bit unlucky tonight, to be honest. I think one went in off Nick. The other one was kind of a fortunate bounce for them, and they went to the net. But first one's a great shot. We had a breakdown, and but he made a couple of nice stops for us after that. Keep it close. One in overtime, I believe. So, yeah, we'd like Aiden to find his game, obviously. He's won a cup for us, so you know, we're relying on him to be solid every night, and shutout and another win tonight, playing well. So hopefully the confidence comes back for him too.
Go Paul, Ken, Jesse.
Hi, Bruce. Paul De Los Santos, NHL.com. The fourth line once again played exceptionally well. Just they contributed on that buzzer beater. Just overall, what are your thoughts on the fourth line, and when they get rewarded like that, how much juice does it give the team?
Well, a lot. I thought they were our best line. Some of our top lines, skill lines, just didn't have the space tonight out there, or weren't sort of making the plays they normally do. A little off with the execution. So we had talked about that right now I feel like the strength of their teams are top six young skill forwards. They can score if you give them time and space. Goaltender, I think's, you know, solid for them, but their D's a little banged up, and they're using different people in there and finding chemistry. So let's play behind them, force them to break pucks out, and I think Nick Waugh's line plays that game to a T. They're hard and heavy. I thought Hurdle's line did a good job, but the other two weren't quite as effective. And sure enough, those are the two lines that got rewarded. I mean, look at Pav's goal. It's a reload by Howie. Again, a forecheck situation where now we're working out and you make some plays because they can. So good on them. That's Nick's game. That's Coley's game. And Schwinn's a good fit for them. We didn't know how that would play out. We've had Pearson there, Howie, but doesn't seem to matter. They've been a good, you know, they're going to play their identity. That's how they scored, and it shows in their stats this year. Like Nick and Coley are right up there. I mean, they're on pace to have some really good seasons, and we rely on that. I don't know, since I've been here, I love to construct or have a fourth line in place that can give you that type of game. Because some nights there's a rush game isn't there, and you need someone to tilt the ice and make it hard on the other team, and they do it automatically. So good on them. And I think Hurdle's line's starting to become that. Those are three big bodies too, and if they can do the rush game plus the forecheck game, then now you got two lines, and all of a sudden it becomes contagious.
Ken Bolke, Cinnamon, Nut Vegas. No penalties tonight, 2 in the last 3 games combined. I know you don't ever want to take penalties, but has there been something specific that you've been saying, let's make sure we don't?
No, I think this team in general, Ken, for all the years I've been here, is very disciplined. We're not a team that takes undisciplined penalties in terms of, punching someone for no reason. It happens periodically. We're not that team that gets emotional in the moment. Pretty mature group. I think we try to emphasize checking with our feet sticks on the ice as much as possible, so you stay away from those little ticky-tacky stick fouls. You will get the trips, right? That's kind of what bled in earlier in the year. I think Nick Waugh was a victim a lot, but you want guys' sticks on the ice. So those you have to live with sometimes when you go for the puck and get a blade, but in general, I think we have a reputation of checking well and keeping our cool. So sometimes that helps around the league. So yes, that's something that we've emphasized, but I think it's been built in here for a while.
Last three will go Jesse, Willie, Jack.
Hi, Bruce. Jesse Granger with The Athletic. We haven't seen Brett Howden play a ton in overtime just over the years. Was that just the rotation to get him in there, or was that a feeling you had because he had been creating?
It'll be the rotation, A, because, again, the face-off ability, and B, the pace, right? You look at some of our guys that are scorers, you have to be careful with the ice so wide open with their young legs that you match up pace maybe with a cerebral guy. For example, Eichel Stone, right? And then, so how he was going with Pav, and I think we were going to go Carly Hurdle, something like that. So there's a mix of, some guys that if they have to pick up speed, off a neutral zone counter, because you just have more time to set up. So that was the thinking behind it. He was going to go around the third time. And I think what happened, there was a draw on the far end, so I used Nick Waugh instead in a face-off, and I think Howie was going to be up next. So anyway, at the end of the day, he was definitely going to be part of the rotation. Came a little later, but it worked out.
Bruce, Willie Ramirez for the Hockey News. As you approach the end of the second period, it's sort of a two-parter. I'm sure you're formulating what you're going to talk about in the locker room. Noah scores the goal, 1 second left. What's the vibe and energy, and how does it change as you enter the locker room? And does your message change now that it's tied?
No, because that's the type of goal I felt that we were going to be able to score, because that's how we were getting our offense. Was, if you remember the play, I think it was Schwinn that maybe put, or Petro, someone put the puck in behind them with 20 seconds to go and to start the forecheck and didn't try to force a play. And we keep a puck alive as it comes around the boards, and then let's get to the net and get a greasy one, right? I mean, I think that was kind of where the game was going to need to be going for us, because we weren't generating a lot off the rush. We just weren't as clean tonight off the rush. And so good, it happened that, you can reinforce your message. Obviously, we felt good about it. I think we thought I know we thought we were playing a solid game. We hadn't given up a lot. So it wasn't like we had to tear everything down or get the guys going. It's just we didn't execute as well offensively tonight as we had in the past. And then sure enough, in the third, we score a rush goal. It starts to come together because the guys can do it, right? Handy wheels, and now you hit Carly, and it's a great little feed under the stick, and now you do get your rush goal. So at the end of the day, that was the message, and I thought if we just stuck with it, we'd be okay, because had good possession. We weren't taking penalties to, for them to give them a chance to extend the lead. I don't think we made a lot of poor decisions to give them odd man rushes. We had a couple of turnovers, yes, one was the first goal, but in general, it wasn't an epidemic throughout the lineup. It just was a couple of plays, so I thought we were good.
Jack Williams, Las Vegas Sun. Noah Hanifin had 3 points tonight. How big was it for him to have such a strong offensive performance from a defenseman?
Yeah, I think it was important for Hanny to find his game a bit offensively. I think that's something he counts on and expects to bring to the team, and feels like he's letting the team down if he doesn't. We know it's there. We saw it last year. You've seen it in Calgary, Carolina, so it's going to come, and sure enough, you're starting to see it a little bit lately. So I think, yes, it's individually meant a lot to him, just like a lot of our guys, when they get their first sort of, his came a little later, but at the end of the day, we need our D to be threats offensively. So all four lines are kind of humming in that regard, and I think we've seen it from Petro and Theo. Let's get Hanny in the mix. The other three guys are going to bring offense, but not at the level of the other guys, at least not, historically, and hopefully they can grow that part of the game. The other guys have been around the league a little longer, and they've brought that, so that's what I think it means to him.